future, talk radio will actually educate, inspire, and make you think. The future is now. Topics and music that affect your life from Universal Broadcasting Network. Tune in at ubnradio.com.
It's time for the Bonnie Sher Show, a whirlwind of wit, wisdom, celebrity, and the boomer life. With a little bit of this and a lot of that and so much more you don't want to miss, here's Bonnie.
Well, hello, and thanks for joining us, new friends and old. From near and afar, I'm your host, Bonnie Sher, and I'm here to guide you through the worlds of entertainment, the great boomer generation, and of course, the T1 diabetes community and life. So thanks for tuning in, and please feel free to share your thoughts. You can call in at 323-843-2826, or you can tweet the hashtag #BShareRadio. Before we get this show on the road with Judy Rich, boomer extraordinaire, and later Mike Berry, our T1D co-host, I'd love to acknowledge jazz great Wayne Cobham for my super duper hero theme song. And also, I'd like to thank Corey Bone of Crown and Anchor Jewelry. You can visit Crown and Anchor Jewelry on SD.com for more information on the pieces that they allow me to wear in exchange for this promotional message. So today we have beautiful freshwater pearls with sapphire beads. It's a lovely piece. You can find out all about it. And when we come back, we're going to be speaking to our first guest, Judy Rich.
Your life story is more than the things you do. It's a story built on the moments you make today and the impact you have on others. How big is your story going to be? Live your legend.
Okay, then. Now we know how that works. You should be here with us. We really all should. We can fit you in. Come on down. So let's go right to the fact that my first guest, Judy Rich, works with the nonprofit, the Nevada Broadcasters Association. She helps nonprofits and government agencies broadcast their special messages. And speaking of special, Judy has received a number of special recognitions and awards for her work, one being the 110th Congressional Record Tribute recipient in 2007. She was inducted into the Nevada Broadcasters Hall of Fame in 2000, and was... Yes, of course, she's a wonderful woman, and she's also a type 1. And along those lines, Judy was awarded by the American Diabetes Association Las Vegas chapter the Volunteer of the Year. Welcome, Judy.
Thanks so much, Bonnie. Glad to be here with you today.
I'm so happy that you're here. So, we note that we have had you on the show before talking about, and as my T1 co-host, but today we're changing your hat. And we'd like to know about your boomer path. So how did this all get started, and how did that morph you into what you're doing now?
Well, probably as many boomers are, I was a child of television. My mom tells me that when I was in my playpen at 18 months, I knew exactly when Dick Clark was coming on television. I would bounce up and down in it.
And
for
you don't
me,
do that anymore?
What's that?
And you don't do that anymore? There's no more bouncing?
Oh, sometimes there is.
There's bouncing. Yeah, I've seen you bounce.
But I think with so many who grew up, I loved Captain Kangaroo on television. Couldn't wait to get home and start watching game shows in the afternoon when I came home. And, of course, the Flintstones was always one of my favorites. But I just loved television. And I'll tell you, one of our entertainment colleagues and a dear one, Mary Tyler Moore, I loved her show. Mm-hmm. And what an incredible woman she was, not only in front of the camera, but behind the scenes, too. And Indeed. I just can't help but think that, who knows, maybe she had a huge dramatic impact. I was diagnosed before she was. How about you?
No, I probably right around the same time, because I'm 49 years in now, and I know you're longer than that.
Well, just barely. It'll be 50 in a couple of months.
Oh, well, we'll have a party. I'll come back to Vegas. It's a much better party. We liked it there. You were a great hostess, and I enjoyed it. So let's talk a little bit more about what kind of work were you doing when you first came out of college. Did you know that broadcasting was your path?
Bonnie, I think I do. I was one of those rare people in life who went to school and studied what I ultimately have done. I joke with people and I say I have a BS in PR. I have a Bachelor of Science degree in Public Relations, but it's through the Mass Communication Department.
And I have a PR and BS,
But I have been able to apply what I studied in college, what I loved watching growing up, and to be able to go just a couple of weeks after college into a small station that had mom and pop ownership. And when you work for a TV station like that, you get to wear lots of different hats and get to do lots of different things.
So how do you think that prepared you for what you're doing now? And why don't you tell our audience exactly what it is that you're doing now?
Well, today I am, as you said, with the Nevada Broadcasters Association, and I have the privilege to work with nonprofits and government agencies to help them get their messages on our Nevada broadcast radio and television stations, our member stations. And it's just a privilege to work with nonprofits like Troops to Education, which actually started here in Clark County, Nevada. And I've worked with the Nevada Secretary of State's office and with the Nevada Attorney General's office with messages. And those are just a few. We also even work with the Utah Shakespeare Festival with their messages because a huge number of theater goers come from the Las Vegas area up to Cedar City, Utah.
Huh. That's phenomenal. And do you think that the broadcast situation is the same now, or have you seen major changes? I mean, I'm not talking about the technology. I mean, I can't figure out how to turn my computer on half the time, but I even had trouble with the coffee machine today, which is probably why I'm rambling. I'm trying to have like a sensory experience of what I would feel like had I had coffee. But apparently I'm not.
Well, you're absolutely right, though, to even touch and talk about technology, Bonnie, because, back when I watched TV when I was a child, there was not cable. No. I don't even know that there were satellite dishes at that point.
No,
but
I
I'll
don't remember any of that.
Really is I think what is the key to so many things is it's about writing and it's about good content, no matter what the platform is or where it's streamed or one of my favorite shows right now, I don't know if you've watched it, is NBC's drama, This Is Us.
Oh, my God. If I watched it, I had to, buy stock in Kleenex.
Oh, my gosh, I know.
Wonderful
but it's
show.
such a well-written story. It's well-produced. It's interwoven so beautifully, and the actors and actresses on it are just amazing, too.
Yeah, I think it's an excellent piece of work. So living in Las Vegas and being a part of the Nevada Broadcasting Group, what are there certain things that you particularly like to hone in on, or stories that you want to explore and you reach out to them, or is it really more a thing of them sort of ambling into you?
It's actually both. When people know and learn who we are and what we do, and this particular service that we provide, which are non-commercial sustaining announcements, that I love it. That's great with the screenshot of This Is Us. That's wonderful. We've got great producers there. But it's
Yay, Jarvie! Yay! It's Jarvis, because I know his mother's listening. And I don't want to. I mean, she is my friend on Facebook, and I don't want to go home and find out that I messed up. But as we're all giggling and laughing, I'm going to ask you to hold that giggle, and we're going to take a break. And when we return, I want to know more about your boomer path. So we'll see you on the flip side.
Since when did experience become something to hide? I say we own it. Lose all that negativity. Just let it go. It's just bad energy. Oh, and lose those terrible black balloons they give you on your 50th. What's up with that?
Hey, we hear you. That's why our members love AARP the magazine. It celebrates you with fun and provocative content, from lifestyle and entertainment to in-depth reporting. And it's just one of the great benefits of membership.
If you don't think this is right for me when you think AARP, then you don't know ARP. Get to know us at aarp.org/possibilities.
To be at peace with myself is the most prominent thing, and I am at peace with myself. I didn't deal this deck, I'm just playing the game. That's all. That's it. Meals on Wheels has given me a mode of freedom that I wouldn't have otherwise. Been making sure they get the nutrition that I need, and it's a balanced meal. My name is Maurice McGriff. America, let's do lunch.
Drop off a hot meal and say hello. Volunteer by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
You are tuned into the Bonnie Sher Show, Boomer Life. We have the pleasure of talking with my boomer extraordinaire from Las Vegas, Nevada, Judy Rich, joining. So please join the conversation. You can tweet the hashtag #BeShareRadio. You can call in at 323-843-2826. So, Judy, let's pick up where we left off before the break, and that is, I want to know more about your boomer path.
Well, before we do that, Bonnie, I want to let you know that one of our public education partners here in Nevada was AARP Nevada. We did a statewide campaign with them last summer, and it was about a state legislative issue that was passed in 2015 called the Care Card Act, so that when people are admitted to a hospital here in Nevada, they are required to share information of a person, their name and their phone number that they are responsible to when they are released from the hospital. But as all kids do, usually in high school, they start a job, and mine was a page in a library in Kansas City, Missouri, Mid-Continent Public Library. I shelved books, all kinds of kids' books, adult books, fiction, nonfiction, and one of the things I was responsible for was sending over requests for books from other branches, and that was on a telex machine. So that's about as far back as I go boomer-wise with technology, and that was really my start. I remember when I was in college, I worked on a campus newspaper, and we would work on the discs, and we would take it down to this huge computer room. And isn't it amazing how from then till now, then it was in an entire room, and today it's in the palm of our hand.
Admittedly, and I think I like the big room better, to tell you the truth. I mean, I rarely make a phone call from my phone. Yeah, I don't, but then, of course, just in case this isn't enough, I can just pick this up and take it. There's plenty of ways, but I guess that's what we really need. Yeah.
Well, and it was typewriters in my first years working, and then that evolved into computers, and
that word processor came in the middle there for about 57 seconds. And then the next thing I knew, there's a new learning curve. But I think, or maybe you agree or don't, but I think that these continuous and continued learning curves have us being the boomers, far ahead of where our parents were these ages, far more connected, if you will, to others. And for that, I'm loving this technology that I see.
Well, and not even just connected with others, but connected with others all around the world. I know
Absolutely.
I know, and I'm sure you're the case too with you. I have people in every single time zone around the world that I could reach out to any time of the day or night.
Yeah, it is. It's that's what allows me to do this show too. So,
well, and I think about the different budgets that I worked on, Bonnie, through the years, and the different software programs and systems. I mean, at one point there was a computer dedicated strictly to doing the annual budget. And now they're software programs, and it's easy to print out a report and line it up a certain way, and this, that, and the other.
That's not good news for me, because somebody's going to ask me to do it, and I'm going to say, huh? I was sort of the learn by doing kind of gal. I never had to open a spreadsheet in my life. Now, because I have to keep a calendar on the show, I use Excel. And I'm not even sure that I excel at Excel, but I see it, and it is the learn by doing. We're kind of forced into it, but it's not a terrible thing to be forced into. I think that
I'm a learn by doing as well, and I've been very fortunate that I've had management who have offered training classes. So anytime something new would come about, especially earlier on with new systems and things like that, and I was always the kind of person that I wanted to take that class. I wanted to learn, I wanted to understand, and I think those things along the way have helped me adopt and adapt later on and where I am now. And
Let's hold it right there. That's a very interesting point you just made. Can you embellish on that a little bit for me?
Which aspect?
Well, how you perceive what you've taken from your past and have employed it now to bring yourself to where you are.
Well, I feel like I've kind of been just either, behind the cusp of things with the learning of things, and I kind of felt like I'd had to catch up with it. But I do feel that because I've tried to stay up to date with things, and I'll tell you what probably is as challenging as anything, are just simply learning some of the new systems or some of the new applications, because no two seem to be alike. I'm working on a project right now where I'm evaluating some things, and it isn't just easy. I did a grant last week, and it was started in 2000 and it goes until 2017. So you still had to go back in and save each of your data, whereas there are a lot of systems now that are auto-save. But it's a matter of learning it, and a big part of it's just not being intimidated by it or being afraid of it, because sometimes it can be or feel overwhelming until you kind of have done it enough to feel comfortable with it.
Well, I'm going to have to take your word for that, because I wouldn't say comfortable adequately expresses how I feel, because it seems like every time I do something, it knocks something else out of balance.
Yeah, I can understand that. When I first was in college and I would edit radio shows, they were on reel to reel. So literally, we would use razors to splice it and tape to edit it. You know, now everything is technical and you can do it on a small screen of the computer.
It's quite wonderful. So, anything
But once
exciting
again,
coming up that you can give us a little scoop on there in Nevada?
well, one of the things that we have coming up is August 19th, Saturday, August 19th, is the Nevada Broadcasters Association Hall of Fame Gala. It's our annual fundraiser. It always sells out, so if you're wanting to go, we also induct about 35 people who have been in the broadcasting business for 20 years, with a minimum of 5 of those years here in Nevada. So that's always an exciting evening, and it's a fundraiser for our other 501c3, which is the Nevada Broadcasters Foundation, in which Nevada graduating high school students can apply. They must attend Nevada higher education. Oh, Jarvis, you are amazing. We've got our golf tournaments coming up, both in Southern Nevada and Northern Nevada, and there's the Hall of Fame. Jarvis is great.
Yeah, I've noticed that. That's why we feed him and give him big hugs when we come in. Yeah, well, you be on radio TV is pretty great, too. So I have a very easy job here once I walk in the door. All I have to do is get here. Then I know I'm going to be fine. And
well, you obviously have passionate people who know and get and understand the industry and see it's exactly what it's all about. It's about people being passionate about what they do.
Well, certainly when it comes to passion, we can, at this moment, revert back to the fact that you are a type 1 diabetic. And I think, or do you think that perhaps you've become more impassioned about things due to the fact that you are a T1? Do you think that has anything to do with it?
Bonnie, I absolutely think it is. And speaking of technology, there's another whole area of T1D technology from back in the day when it was daily urine testing to today, and since the mid-'80s or so, blood testing. Used to be I had to go to the hospital one day a month before breakfast, before lunch, before dinner, before bedtime to go to the hospital and get lab draws that my mom wouldn't get until a week later or so.
Amazing.
And now we get it instantaneously by pricking our fingers and checking our numbers.
Yeah, I can remember when they had us save urine for 24 hours in a large jug and then pour it off into a small bottle and take that along with you to your endo appointment. And so I always forgot. It was just too much bother for me. So I told them, oh, no, I forgot. And finally, I remembered, and I was so very proud of myself. And I packed it in a little brown bag, like a lunch bag, and drove, because I was living here in LA at the time, and drove to my appointment. And it was early in the morning, and I ran into the diabetes nurse educator down as we were both parking our cars, and I, of course, dropped my little bag. And yeah. And I'll never forget, she looked at me and said, well, can't cry over spilt urine.
Oh, and did you see Jarvis just posted a blood glucose monitor attached to a cell phone? So, see, that's even further technology than I have.
Well, the G5 also, is employing your smartphone instead of having a receiver. So
exactly. So it's all in the palm of your hand again, including your pancreas that doesn't work when you're one of us, huh?
I'm afraid so. before we let you go, first of all, I want to thank you so much for taking your time to be with us today. It's always a pleasure to interact with you, Judy. And as we go to break, but before I do that, please, Judy, would you tell our listeners how they can follow you, how they could get a message to you? Where are you? What are you? How do they reach out to you?
Well, a couple of ways you could certainly do that is on Facebook. It's Judy, and the last name's Reich. And I'd be happy to friend you. And also through the Nevada Broadcasters Association, Judy at nevadabroadcasters.org, and that's Nevada spelled out. And it's always a pleasure to join you, Bonnie. Thanks so much. And please give a special shout out and hello to Mike Berry.
I will do that, and I'm pretty sure he's hearing it right now, so you'll probably get one back in 8 minutes as soon as I hit this microphone one more time. Lunch. Okie dokie. Thank you for being here. And as we go to break, I'd like to acknowledge the important work of the Diabetes Research Institute and encourage you to support their efforts. You can visit them online at diabetesresearch.org. Our song of the day is coming up next, which is You There in the Back Row by the phenomenal Liz Calloway. Our song of the day is coming up next.
Type 1 diabetes can be living in anyone.
Type 1 diabetes is when your pancreas doesn't produce insulin. It's not caused by your diet. It's not caused by anything you did.
Type 1 diabetes can be very serious.
Blindness, amputation.
Learn more about type 1 diabetes.
Help support JDRF finding a cure.
T1D looks like my brother.
T1D looks like a friend.
Type 1 diabetes looks like me.
Win some, lose some, left with hope in tatters this time. Next time, only one thing matters. Keep on going, spotlights, music playing, you will see me trying, hoping, praying. You there in the back row, love me when I sing my song. Hear me loud and clear and strong. Tell me that you need those dreams I bring you. Take these words I sing you. Show me I'm not wrong. Reach out through the shadows, your hand taking hold of mine. Touch me, light my life with sunshine. Need me, can't you see how I need you? Dreaming is what I do. Show me dreams come true. You there in the back row, want me
welcome back to the Bonnie Sher Show, Boomer Life. My host for this segment is Mike Berry. Mike is a member of the T1D type 1 diabetes community from the great state of Illinois. Welcome, Mike. Well, we seem to be having some technical difficulties in getting Mike on the line. I'm going to try and reach out one more time. Please, what are we going to do? How do we get him? Well, for some reason, we can't grab him. And give us a moment and we'll be back with you. I wish I knew a good dirty joke to tell you, but I don't. How about those Mets? Jarvis, what do you know?
I don't know. How are the Mets?
Well, we'll find out in a minute. Gee, this has never happened here before. I'm kind of at a loss, and I apologize. But we're trying to get him back for us now, and we're not able to grab him. Oh, wait a minute.
Hi there.
Mike! There is a God. Hi!
No, Howie, I called like 5 times and nobody was answering. I'm like, what's going on here?
Well, because I was only kidding, see. I really wasn't interested in you, who knows so much about the topic, really had to say. So I just wanted to see how resilient you truly were. Kidding. But that is an exercise in tap dancing right there, what you saw.
Right? I was not tap dancing at all. I was sitting there, redial.
I think I need to go back to Chicago. Maybe that's what happened when I came out here. I lost that ability. But let us move on. And you and I had chatted and texted back and forth or emailed, all those things we do. And one thing that came up is living in these days, speaking of technology, as being a part of the diabetes online community. As I've said, I've been a type 1 for over 49 years now. And prior to getting into the groups on Facebook, I only knew one other type 1 diabetic. And this has just opened up so much for us. And I know that you are a major driving force. Tell us about that, would you please?
Well, I try to do what I can. From like 1984 through 2008, I was in the same boat. Every now and then I'd run into someone, but it wasn't a whole lot of people. And then in 2008, I decided to get an insulin pump for a whole other long story of reason that I won't go into here. But I did, and in the time that in between when I ordered the pump and when I got the pump, I'm like, I wonder if there's stuff about diabetes online. And I knew about message boards from fantasy baseball and guitar amplifiers, so I searched it, and oh, look, there's a message board. Oh, look, you can hang out online. I started chatting, came up with an identity, which people still call me by from back in the days when they run to me like, yo, Acid Rock, what's up? And I just connected
You have
with
reached
people.
the
It's
maximum
fun.
time
Most
permitted
of the
to
sites
record.
tend to be pretty
To send your message,
well-moderated,
press
and
1
the
at any
community's
time.
very
To listen to your message, press 2.
proactive, and
To
everybody
re-record,
has
press
issues.
3.
And some people have a lot
For
of
more
issues that they
options,
want to
press
talk about,
4.
but
To cancel, press star.
if someone has an odd idea or an idea that's not medically sound, there's usually plenty
To
of people
send your message, press
throw links
1
them
at
and,
any time.
or
To listen to
engage
your
in spirited
message,
debate,
press
and
2.
The
To
community moves
re-record,
forward
press
together.
3.
And since then, I
For more
started
options,
meeting
press
people
4.
in real
To
life
cancel,
from the
press
online
star.
community in 2011 at the Chicago Marathon. There were some people from a
To send your
diabetics
message,
who run
press
marathons
1 at any
group
time.
True Diabetes who
To listen to your message,
we're all
press
running in
2.
Chicago, so
To
we got together for
re-record,
breakfast
press
before the day
3.
before the race,
For more
walked around the
options,
corrals
press
and
4.
stuff, and it was a good time.
To cancel,
We got to
press
talk, visit,
star.
talk about our blood sugar strategies for tomorrow, and yada, yada, yada. So it was a good time. It was great to meet
please
people
try
in real
again
life.
later.
Keep talking.
Thank you for calling. Goodbye.
Well, whatever that was, it may have been coming from your side because
You have reached the...
Okay, I think we have lost our connection. And Mike, are you there with us?
You have reached the voicemail.
Okay, we are locked again. I apologize.
I'm back.
Oh, he's here. Hi.
I'm back.
I want to know, is it snowing?
Not the first time either, so that's okay.
Is it snowing?
So anyway, yeah, I think it's good to meet people from the diabetes online community, like you and Judy were talking about. There are always people up. I mean, parents groups, and at 2 a.m, somebody's like, "Oh, we're testing in the middle of the night." And there's an issue, and 3 other people will pop up with the same or another issue, and they all have that camaraderie together that we all speak this language to ourselves, I think, that you don't really talk about with your family members or your coworkers or your friends in the same degree of detail that we can with the diabetes people.
Yeah. Well, I think it takes a T1 to know a T1, no? I mean, you can read about it. I mean, even our physicians, they may be endocrinologists, they may be internists, they have studied, but and I've said that to my own endocrinologist. I know you know a lot about diabetes, but there's no way you can know as much about my diabetes. And another diabetic will understand those nuances, like you and I talked about this before, issues like, well, we know that all sorts of different reasons will drive blood sugar. Of course, food, primary thing, carbs. But how do you bolus for you're in a bad mood? How do you bolus for you're depressed? How do you bolus for all of those things that you don't know are coming? There's not really a list of how to affect those, but talk to another T1. They'll tell you how they did it, and it at least gives you a way, and to tell you the truth, I trust a lot more out of another T1 than I do out of most of my doctors because they've already faced it, and done the hard work.
They're reading the manual, but you're living it and breathing it and shooting it and running up and down the stairs between appetizers and dinner at Thanksgiving.
Now, isn't that when you use the square? Isn't that what that's for on the pump? Like, we're not going to give you all the insulin now because
I have never been able to make that work. I just keep throwing more logs on the fire.
Well, this is a conversation to have in the online community, isn't it? Let's put that one up. Mike, Mike. So, give us a bit of your story. When were you diagnosed?
1984. When I was 16, I don't want to say I was a teenage hoodlum and sat around listening to Black Flag and Black Sabbath and Ozzy or whatever. But that was pretty much what I did, like Bill and Ted or Wayne Garth or whatever.
And doing it admirably from what I hear.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mike, yeah, I mean, I was diagnosed. I felt so horrible. I remember still to this day how ghastly I felt. So ever since then, to me, I'll take the insulin.
And what got you to the doctor?
Oh, I weighed 150 pounds and it was about 5'10" and lost 30 pounds. It was down to
that'll do it.
$1.20, and then ate Captain Crunch and drank a gallon of grape Kool-Aid and puked everywhere. And my mom's like, "We better go to the doctor." And
you have reached the maximum time permitted to record. To send your message, press 1 at any time.
Seeing as this is coming up right now, I'm going to say thank you for sitting in with me today.
For more
and
options,
please
press
tell
4.
the audience how to follow you
press star.
or how they can stay in touch.
Same thing on Facebook.
To send your message, press 1 at any time. To listen to your message, press 2. To re-record, press 3. For more options, press 4.
So I'm pretty
easy to
find
press
hashtag DSMA and hashtag DCBE. DSMA is 8 o'clock Central Time.
To send your message, press 1 at any time.
Hashtag DCBE
to listen to your message, press 2.
Tuesday
to re-record,
both
press
Twitter
3.
chats for an hour. It's a
for
great
more
way to meet
options,
people,
press
sometimes
4.
with a theme, like
To
movie night.
cancel,
Let's talk
press
about movies.
star.
Let's talk about food. Let's talk about fill in the blanks or whatever. And sometimes
Sorry,
it's like, well,
please try
we're
again
just gonna
later.
Talk, and people
Thank
just
you
talk
for
on
calling.
Twitter for an
Goodbye.
hour. You know, you could watch TV or you could talk to friends. And for me, talking to friends is a good thing to do.
Absolutely.
TwoDiabetes.org/forums. I'm AcidRock23 there, but I don't check in there as often as I do. But that's a very good resource for a very well-moderated community if you want really detailed solutions. There's a Flatliners thread or Flatliners Club thread that's been around about people who are really into normalizing blood sugar. That's an amazing source of tactical and strategic advice that goes back probably 8 years now or something like that. It's been around for a while.
Excellent. Well,
good stuff.
Thank you, Mike. And well, I have you all paying attention to us. If any of our fellow Type 1s would like to be my co-host for this segment of the show, email me at bonnie@bonniesher.com. That's how easy that can be. Again, Mike, thank you so much for sitting in with me today, and I look forward to having another conversation with you too. Thank you.
Right. And finally, go to Las Vegas for the Diabetes Unconference or to Virginia in the fall. It's a great in-person, real-life diabetes event. It's very social and psychosocial and not lecture-y. You are the participants.
Perfect.
Check it out.
Well, if you wouldn't mind, how about putting that up on my Bonnie's World page, that information, so we can keep that flowing?
Right.
Okay? I'd appreciate it.
You bet.
Okay, next up, we have Boomer News and some views from my soapbox. Back in 60 seconds.
So they say it's a man's world?
Well, I don't see anybody's name on it. While they were out doing their thing, we slowly changed all that. We changed all that.
Today, women can do anything men can do. And there's one thing we're even better at.
You are tuned to the Bonnie Sher Show. Today's Boomer News is following everything you need to know.
There's some great video content online, so having the ability to connect your TV to the internet is becoming more and more important to TV lovers. Here's what you need to know about smart TVs and video streaming devices. When it comes to having a TV connected to the internet, there are two main options: smart TVs and streaming devices. Smart TVs have streaming technology built right into them that connect via Wi-Fi. You can easily select apps that allow you to stream video from the web, such as Hulu, Netflix, and Vudu. For example, this 55-inch TCL TV has Roku built into it, which has the most apps of any media streaming player. And a benefit of buying a newer TV is that they offer high-resolution screens. This one here, for example, is 4K Ultra HD. And if you aren't looking to purchase a new TV, you can connect your TV to your Wi-Fi with streaming devices like the Roku Express Plus or Google Chromecast. These devices plug directly into the HDMI input of virtually any TV. The Express Plus will also connect with older TVs using the composite cable included with the product. These devices allow you to set up a wireless connection in minutes. Happy streaming!
Yeah, well, I'm back. This has been some day. I'm sure glad we have all this technology. Doesn't this really just like float your boat here? Okie dokie. Now it's really going to float your boat, I hope, because this requires no technology. The views from my soapbox, which is my take on who gets it right, and my shout down is to whom I think should really be ashamed. So let's start off with the fact that I'd like to give a shout out to hashtag Meet a Muslim. This was a day last week around the country, and their message was, ask me anything. This went on in many cities, and if you would like to read up about it, I got the news from CBS Sunday morning. I think it's wonderful. Then my shout down. Well, shame on the current administration for the killing of the National Endowment of the Arts. This is a 52-year-old entity that, with no notice and for no real reason, is dead. It breaks my heart. There's so little arts left anymore in the schools. It's so important. Fight, resist. Let's keep what we have. And there's a whole study done and an explanation that was reported by The Hill. If you want to take a look at that, and that will tell you more about it. Okay, before we say goodbye, I do want to say thanks to our guests today, Judy Rich and the marvelous Mike Berry. Is that who was here? That's who was here. But since this has not been a normal day, I just want you to know that is our show. I hope you'll return next week for another 50-minute trip to the land of Bonnie, the world of entertainment, baby boomers, and type 1 diabetics, and anything else I can think of. Until then, please visit BonnieSher.com. Follow the #1 Bonnie Sher on Twitter, and like the Bonnie Sings Lena page on Facebook. Many of you are aware of the special relationship and role of the late Sammy Davis Jr. played in my career as well as in my life. He was my mentor, and he was my friend. And so I end my show sort of Carol Burnett style with a nod and a wink to you, Mr. D. See you next week.